topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Barry G. Fowler, EA, brings you Tax Talk for You right here on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. As an enrolled agent and a national leader in tax resolution, as well as trucker, bookkeeping, and tax planning with over 30 years of experience, Barry will break down taxes, bookkeeping, tax planning, and tax relief for individuals and businesses just like you. So let's have some Tax Talk for You with your host, Barry G. Fowler.
Hey, good morning, USA, and man, it's a great Monday morning. I know we had a long weekend driving from basically Houston up to Lubbock and back, all within roughly 24 or 30 hours, somewhere around there. Daughter was heading out to do some study abroad for vet, so it was kind of cool. Hey, one of these days we're gonna have to do a program about farm taxes and stuff, because a lot of truckers also do some ranching or some farming too. So it'd be good to have some good information on that. And if you happen to be one of our clients that does trucking and ranching, man, that program would be good for you. You know, we're trying to figure out what are we going to talk about this week, and we're going to talk about truck to success. Now, truck to success, you know, means trying to be a successful owner-operator truck driver. You're running your own business. So I had to, you know, sit back and go, hey, what are we going to do? Well, let's Google this. And so I Googled how to be a successful owner-operator. And I love, you know, sometimes we do Google and you do this AI overview that they give you. And it says here, to become a successful owner operator, it's crucial to combine driving skills with sound business practices, including understanding the freight market, managing finances effectively. Hey, that means good bookkeeping, building a strong business foundation, knowing where you're at and where you're going. Hey, again, another good reason for some good bookkeeping. And then they say by focusing on these key areas, owner operators can navigate the challenges and achieve profitability in the trucking industry. Don't we wish it was that simple? I mean, we all wish business could be that simple. You know, if you could do these couple things, now all of a sudden you are a successful owner operator. Hey, it doesn't have anything to do, you know, what market rates are for the loads that you're going, or how people undercut this market and they're driving and transporting goods that they can't even afford to do at the price of fuel and maintaining their equipment, or lease payments. You know, they think they have to do this to make things work. Now, here's what I really recommend you as an owner operator, or maybe you're wanting to become an owner operator. There is a great seminar called Truck to Success. Now, it's not our seminar. This seminar is put on by OOIDA Foundation. So if you go and search up Truck to Success, Google it, and it will take you to hopefully OOIDA.com's online education, Truck to Success. The seminar is going to be held October 21st through the 25th or 23rd in Blue Springs, Missouri. Now, they also offer, you know, being able to watch and participate in this via Zoom. I suggest you get in and register. And you get some really good benefits. I'm going to be there. And I'm going to be talking about bookkeeping, taxes, lease purchase, entity choice, all those things I'm going to get to talk about. But even better than that, we get to sit in the lobby after the seminar or every evening and talk trucking. You guys get to tell me hey, why you're looking to become an owner-operator, or maybe you're already an owner-operator and you're just coming to improve your business. Because there's a lot of information here. And I sit through this seminar every year and get to listen to OOIDA's staff and the foundation talk about trucking and everything it takes to be an owner-operator. And sometimes I'm amazed at the rules and regulations that all the owner-operators have to go through, have to follow. And if you're leased on to somebody, hey, sometimes it's a little bit easier. If you're going to go and operate under your own authority, sometimes you have a lot more difficulties out there. Truck to Success is going to feature the trainers from OOIDA and trusted experts, like myself. And, so we're in contact with owner operators on a daily basis and, trying to get you as much information as possible. So if you're serious about your desire to become a owner operator or improve your business, then come to this seminar. Again, it's October 21st through the 23rd. Hey, you know what? Even the fees to attend this seminar are tax deductible for your business. So why not spend the time to come up and learn? Hey, you may be having this great desire to become an owner operator out there, and you may come to this seminar and go, oh man, this isn't for me. Maybe this is more than I really want to bite off and chew, that I'd just rather stay a W-2 driver because it's so much easier. Being in business isn't for everybody. And being in business for yourself, you've got to be driven. And it doesn't matter what business you're in, whether you're going to be an owner operator, whether you're going to operate a retail store, or you're going to be a consultant, whatever business you're going to be in, you have to be self-driven. See, when you are an owner of your own business, nobody makes you get up in the morning to get your paycheck. You have to earn it every day. Earn it through taking care of your clients, your customers. Earn it by providing the services that they're paying for in the best possible way. Now, when you are an owner-operator, you've got to make ends meet. You've got to make money. You not only just have to pay the bills for the business, but you got to pay yourself and pay the tax man. Unfortunately, that happens too. So, get in, register to Truck to Success, come out there and join us. Hey, I say being in person is so much better than being on Zoom or watching this virtually. You're going to learn a lot either way, but you learn so much more being there with other people that are looking to become owner operators, being there to where we can sit in the lobby and talk. Even sometimes I get staff with OOIDA to come out and join us in the lobby and continue talking and having a conversation. There's nothing better than having that conversation to learn a lot more about what you need to do as a trucker, as an owner operator. Whether it's the bookkeeping side, whether it's the tax side or entity side, it's all information that you need. And sometimes things that are happening in your life, you've got to look at how it's going to affect you. So the things that you're going to get at Truck to Success, you're going to learn how to develop a business plan. What should be in the business plan, how to borrow money. You've got to, when you're going to borrow money, you definitely have to have a plan. Now you can go borrow money or lease a truck or be leased on and lease a truck from them. Sometimes, those walkaway leases, you'll hear Louis and Other people at OIDA talk about, they walk away with your money is what generally happens. But they'll go through the good, the bad, the ugly of the information out there. You're going to be talking about business plans, exploring short-term, mid-term, long-term goals, and how to track them. You've got to learn how all the costs of operations, including fixed costs and variable costs, and what those different costs are and how you can actually control some of those expenses. And assets, liabilities, and then managing all this and managing the costs. You got to develop something that's very realistic, and looking at the freight and the freight costs that you're going to have using load boards, spot market versus contract rates, how to figure a fuel surcharge, advantages and some disadvantages, and things that you need to include in your business plan. They walk you through this, they help you through this so that you can develop the business plan that is right for you and your business, and you to help determine what you need in reserves and cash to make it through the short term while you're waiting and working on expanding your revenue base and your income that's coming in so that you have the knowledge to build this business. After this break, we're going to start talking a little bit about equipment you're going to need, new versus used. We'll talk about that in just a minute.
We have only scratched the surface of today's show. Please stand by as Barry G. Fowler will be right back with Tax Talk for You. If you owe the IRS or are going through an IRS audit, don't go at it alone. Call Taxation Solutions Tax Relief at 888-930-1016. We are your solution for IRS debts, audits, back taxes, garnishments, liens, and levies. Whether you're an individual or business, you need a solution and a strong, aggressive tax resolution. Don't let the IRS walk all over you. Stop the IRS now. Call 888-930-1016 or go to taxationsolutions.net now for a free, no obligation consultation. Let's get back to Tax Talk for You with more Tax Talk. Once again, here's your host, Barry G. Fowler.
Hey, welcome back. Before we get too far into this, if you are an owner-operator out there, truck driver, looking for bookkeeping and tax services, and we've got a great low rate and special going on right now of about simply $25 a week for one truck operation. We manage all your bookkeeping for you. Matter of fact, if you're not a member of OOIDA, we'll pay for your first year's membership out there with OOIDA. So call us, let us know that you're looking for that low rate, and let us know that you're looking to become a member of OOIDA, and we'll take care of that for you as well when you sign up for bookkeeping with us. Hey, we're talking about equipment. Now I hear this all the time, hey, should I buy this new piece of equipment or should I buy this used piece of equipment? A lot of times it's, personal choice. But one of the advantages you have of a new truck, you can spec it to your operation. But you need to know, hey, how are you planning to operate? What kind of loads you're going to be carrying? And you can kind of get carried away out there in the cost of it. And a new truck could also be better, in fuel mileage as well. So, what you want to do is be able to sit down and figure out exactly what you're looking to drive. Now, when we're at Truck to Success, they talk about learning about specific tools that are out there to help you spec the truck for your operation. Is a 10-speed better than an 18-speed? What gear ratios and tire sizes should I use for my operations that gives you the best fuel mileage and power? That's not stuff I do as a tax guy, but OOIDA definitely can talk to you about this. In this seminar, Truck to Success is a great place to do it. Also, what kind of warranties you should be looking for. Make sure you get everything in writing. When you're talking to OOIDA, they're not bound to any one manufacturer, so they're going to kind of help you and walk you through what OOIDA has experienced with, different engines and truck manufacturers out there. They can also talk to you a little bit about life cycles of new trucks, which is really kind of cool. And then other costs that you may have, such as newer emissions or maintenance. If you're wanting to go into California or something, man, you've got to have a newer truck. You can't have one of the older trucks out there because of the emissions requirements. And then, there are states out there that have lemon laws for trucks as well. So, where you buy it could be important. Now, there's used trucks out there too. What they're going to show you is some ways to find out how a truck has been used, how it's been abused, how they've been taken care of. Walk you through a little bit of, what you need to do to check the truck out and where you're going to find most of the red flags. Should you ask for an oil analysis? Should you ask for the last ECM reading and how to read and look for potential problems with the truck engine, transmission? Two things you can learn. Now, hey, if you've been an owner operator, you know a lot of this stuff. Maybe you don't know and you've had problems. See, we've had a lot of clients, they bought used trucks. Thank God they bought the warranty and they're getting it fixed. One of the big problems they have is equipment financing. When you walk out and you're going to find a piece of equipment that you want, and this goes in any business out there, and whether you're buying new or used, and you're going to go through some kind of financial institution, it's going to depend sometimes on your credit score. Some of the truck companies will loan you the money at a very high interest rate. Read your loan document. There are some loan documents we've seen don't even disclose interest rates to you. It was a lease purchase, and the interest rates were actually closer to 30%. But if you don't read and don't look at the numbers out there, it can cost you an arm and a leg and more than you can actually afford. So you really need to, look at what you're getting into. Truck to Success, we've talked about, learning what lenders concentrate on, such as trade lines, both negative and positive. Trade lines will be discussed and what lenders look for on credit applications, or what the magic score on the credit application. And then the pros and cons of various financing options out there, such as loans or finance lease, residual lease purchase. Should you purchase a trailer, pros and cons of various trailer types. Maybe you're going to lease on with somebody and they're going to provide you the trailers. We have a lot of people that do that. They buy the tractor and the trailer is provided from where they're leased on. So there's a lot of options and you need to sit down and look at it. So when you're buying a truck, weigh all the options you have out there so that, do you buy the new, used, for how the financing is going to go, you got to look at all that so that it makes sense for you in your business. And you got to remember, you've got to cover that payment. And if you're leasing a truck from where you're leased on, and all of a sudden you're towards the last year of your lease and the loads slow down, are you going to continue to pay for this lease, or are they taking the truck back and you're SOL? Those are some of the things that we talk about in Truck to Success seminar, so that, hey, you've got information in your hands to make good, solid decisions. Now, Truck to Success, it's about you and your business and making your business a success. Because that's the key. It's the way you stay in business. See, whether you're an owner, operator, truck driver, or small business owner, it really doesn't matter. You have to be successful. That doesn't mean break even. That means bringing in enough money to support you and your family. And pay the taxes. Yep, pay the taxes. You got to pay the tax guy. Uncle Sam needs his cut of everything you do as well. So you've got to plan. You got to have the right equipment and the right financing. And then you got to start talking about insurance and the types of insurance that may be required and the amounts of insurance that is required, that is set by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Association. And then other types of insurance that you may need if you're operating under your own authority or if you're leased to a carrier. So let's say, for example, you decide that you're going to lease on. It is a carrier who's generally responsible for carrying the public liability. However, many carriers charge it back with a premium to you. Hey, see, those carriers are making money coming and going. Moreover, there are instances where lease on owner-operators will not be covered under the carrier's insurance, and you're going to need to carry your own insurance instead. And then there's some insurance that is optional that provides extra layers of protection. And then insurance costs are going to vary on numerous factors. And, it could be your driving record, be the type of material that you're carrying, whether it's hazmat or not. A single accident can cost your business basically everything you've worked for. So you're going to need to know, hey, what is required, what's needed. You can't operate without insurance, and you got to actually have it all in place before you can even begin to get out there and operate. So, putting that information together, and those information is valuable in developing your business plan as well. Like one of the first things we talked about is developing that business plan. Now, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about your decision to be an owner-operator, whether it's your own authority or leased on a carrier. We'll be right back after this.
We have only scratched the surface of today's show. Please stand by as Barry G. Fowler will be right back with Tax Talk for You. As an owner-operator, you already spend too much time away from your family. Trucker Tax Tools handles all your bookkeeping and taxes no matter what level trucker you are. Life on the road can be taxing, but that doesn't mean that your wallet or time with your family should suffer. Trucker Tax Tools makes your life run smoothly. Go to truckertaxtools.com for a free guide that will give you the tools to never worry about your taxes again. Call Trucker Tax Tools at 877-966-2477 or go to truckertaxtools.com now and let the experts keep you trucking. Let's get back to Tax Talk for You with more Tax Talk. Once again, here's your host, Barry G. Fowler.
Hey, welcome back. Hey, don't forget to call Trucker Tax Tools here at 877-996-2477. Hey, get that low bookkeeping rate, get started so you know where you are in business. Hey, this is an introductory rate for new clients. Also, if you're not a member of OOIDA, we'll pay for that first year's membership with OOIDA so you can reap the benefits of belonging to OOIDA. And there's some other good associations out there that we're associated with. The specials coming from working with OOIDA and working with them on Truck to Success seminar as well. Hey, right before the break, we were talking about that big decision. Should I be an owner-operator under my own authority, or should I lease on to a carrier? Hey, in my opinion, listening to this seminar and being at this seminar every year, by the way, don't forget to register for Truck to Success now and get a little bit of discount with them. That seminar is in Blue Springs, Missouri, or on virtually on Zoom. And it's October 21st to the 23rd. I hope you're going to come out and be at Truck to Success and meet me and be able to sit, have dinner with me in the lobby, and let's talk about trucking. But, you know, when I look at it, a lot of the people coming out and becoming an owner-operator, the best way to get started sometimes is being leased onto a carrier, at least to get your feet wet, owning and operating a business as an owner-operator. And taking that first step, being leased on, gives you time. Get your feet wet, get yourself established, and figure out everything you need to be from there. Now, you might get on a good lease. Have many clients who have gotten on dedicated routes and making a good amount of money operating on a dedicated route. They know it's consistent, it's there, and they're making good money. And they're leased on, and they're doing very, very well. And they prefer it to be that way. They don't want to have to go chase dollars or anything from anybody out there, or use a broker that's going to take more money from them as well. But if you're going to be leased on, you are going to sign a lease agreement. It is a binding document between you and the carrier. The one thing you need to, make sure of is that you are your own person. You are your own owner-operator. You are still running your own business. You're not being dictated every single thing under the sun. Being leased on to the carrier, because then maybe you might be a W-2 employee. So that's something you've got to look at. Sometimes owner operators are also going to lease their equipment to the carrier, and so that you may become a W-2 and the equipment's leased to them. There's a lot of different options out there. If you're under your own authority, or want to operate under your own authority, you've actually got to apply through the Department of Transportation. It's not very complicated, but it can get very confusing, and you need to make sure that you've got the right advice. OOIDA is great at giving you the advice you need to fill this paperwork out correctly. Thousands of authority filings are not filled out correctly, and the Department of Transportation does not qualify you, so you may end up sitting there waiting indefinitely without knowing. Department of Transportation isn't very good at talking to you. But OOIDA does have an authority department. We do not. We do not help you get an authority. We will refer you to OOIDA or some other associations out there that will actually help you through the process. But OOIDA has an authority department that will actually walk you through this. And there's potential pitfalls, potholes you may fall into that you'll never get out of and be waiting indefinitely. OIDA, Truck to Success, uses a great example about, let's say you want to haul hazmat. There's a whole different program out there. And hey, you may want to list that you'll run in all 48 states, which will change your insurance rates. So things that you need to really pay attention to is where you're going to run, how many states you're going to run, how far you're going to run, because of all the impacts that it has. Getting good advice about getting your own authority is key, and also key to going back and developing that business plan. So, not only does it affect your insurance rates, it affects the cost of permits that you'll need to purchase, and you're totally responsible for all aspects of your business. And there's a lot more paperwork and accountability involved. And that's all things we talk about at Truck to Success. That is there. The other fun part is listening to this was the drug and alcohol consortium and requirements. And it's one of the most cited violations from what I understand, because you don't belong as a owner operator with their own authority to a drug consortium. And it is mandatory that you belong to a consortium, and that tests are conducted in a certified lab as well. There's a lot of owner operators that aren't familiar with these requirements, especially when you have your own authority. Now, my favorite part is when we talk about business structure. That's my part. Now, what I really love talking about business structure is that they have me come in and talk about it and wanted me to get out liability stuff. Now, I'm not an attorney, never wanted to be an attorney, and don't charge legal fees. So when I talk about liability, I talk about what my friends tell me that are attorneys. Yes, I have a couple of friends that are attorneys, so don't hold it against me. They are good people. But they basically tell me that if you are the owner operator and you're the driver of the truck and you were in an accident, you're getting sued just as much as your business is, and the business isn't going to stop somebody coming through and suing you, because you are still one of the responsible parties when you're behind the wheel of that 18-wheeler. Now, if you have contractors or you have employees driving for you and they do something wrong, as long as you've kept your corporate veil in place and haven't screwed any of that stuff out, the company should stop the liability at the value or the money that's in the company. Okay, insurance is for that as well. Now, what I advise you is, if you're talking about business structure for liability protection, is pick up the phone and call your attorney. Talk to them, make sure it's structured right, and you are dotting the I's and crossing the T's so you protect yourself and the liability. Now, what we really talk about is how this entity helps you tax-wise. Single member LLC taxed as a single member is Schedule C. Total net income is going to be taxed for Social Security, Medicare, and federal income tax and state income tax. A single member LLC taxed as an S Corp, you must have payroll. And that payroll is the only amount that's taxed for Social Security and Medicare. But it's also taxed for federal income tax, state income tax. You also receive a K-1 with net income from the business, which is also taxed for federal and state income taxes, but not taxed for Social Security and Medicare. But being an S Corp owner, if you're working in the business, you must have reasonable salary, payroll. Now, if you're incorporated and you haven't made the S Corp election, you're taxed as a corporation on 1120, and you get double taxation. Meaning the corporation pays a tax, and then distributions to you are dividends and taxed at your federal income tax rate on your personal tax return. And you must have payroll for the people working in the business. But your money is taxed at the corporate level and then taxed again when it's distributed to you at the personal level. If you make the S Corp election, then you're taxed with payroll again, and net income's taxed at federal and state income tax rates. Multi-member LLC can be taxed either as a partnership or as a S Corp, but you have to make the election. Now we're going to talk about LLC taxed as a partnership right after this break.
We have only scratched the surface of today's show. Please stand by as Barry G. Fowler will be right back with Tax Talk for You. As an owner-operator, you already spend too much time away from your family. Stop spending time doing paperwork. Go to truckertaxtools.com, a solution built specifically for truckers. Truckertaxtools.com makes your life run smoothly. Let's get back to Tax Talk for You with more Tax Talk. Once again, here's your host, Barry G. Fowler.
Hey, welcome back. We were talking about LLCs. And, when we talk about LLCs and Incs and S Corps and partnerships, this applies to, all small businesses out there, or all businesses out there, on how you can limit your tax liabilities as well. But if you are an LLC and maybe you're husband and wife and you both own the business, we can have it taxed as a partnership. And being taxed as a partnership, again, you can limit what is going to get taxed for Social Security and Medicare by what they allow for partners that are working in the business should be getting what they call guaranteed payments. So if you give your partner a guaranteed payment, that is what is subject to self-employment tax, Social Security and Medicare. Now, guaranteed payment still has to be a reasonable wage paid to the person working in the business. So you as a truck driver getting a reasonable salary through guaranteed payments, you will still get taxed on your personal tax return for the guaranteed payment amount subject to Social Security and Medicare. And the rest of the money that comes over to you would only be taxed for federal income and state taxes, as well as the guaranteed payments subject to federal and state income tax as well, if you happen to be in one of the states that does charge income taxes out there. So, those are the kind of things you need to look at. Now, if you're set up as a sole proprietorship or you're set up as a single member LLC, we see the biggest violation is running payroll for the owners of the business. Being that you're on Schedule C, you don't do payroll because your net income for your business is taxed for Social Security and Medicare and self-employment. So there is no payroll run and no payroll taxes or payroll tax forms unless you've hired somebody out there. The best thing I tell you is call Trucker Tax Tools or go to truckertaxtools.com and register there for us to give you a free consultation and a free call, or just pick up the phone and give us a call here at Trucker Tax Tools at 877-966-2477. Again, 877-966-2477. Ask for the lowest rates. If you're a single truck owner or operator out there, we can start you as simply as $25 a week for bookkeeping. And then if you're not a member, OIDA will pay for that membership as well. We'd love to have you. Matter of fact, staff just told me we got a couple of phone calls here today already. People getting signed up to get their bookkeeping started. Even if you've been working with somebody else and looking for a lower rate, great service. Call us here at Trucker Tax Tools and go to truckertaxtools.com. Hey, one of my best things that I love hearing about, and man, I am passionate about this. They start talking about brokers and factoring. And what I'm passionate about is about the factoring side. And we'll get to that in a minute. Sometimes when you got your own authority out there and your carriers, owner operators, sometimes you use a broker to find you loads. Make sure you're doing your due diligence. Some of these brokers we've seen are scam artists out there. Make sure they're bonded and surety bonds in the trust. So, you got to make sure that you have a lot of these things that are out there and don't get burned by those brokers out there. Look at load boards and other things, because you're going to be responsible for your own loads and making sure, getting loads so you're not deadheading anywhere. Factoring. I see this all the time. I see people get into business and, first thing they've got to do is start factoring. Factoring is something that helps you with immediate cash flow, but is a dead end, in my opinion. If you're in need of immediate cash, sometimes you've got to use it, but it's hard to wean yourself off of it. And it doesn't seem bad when it's 3% for or 1% or 2% upfront on the invoices. But if you extrapolate that out to an annual interest rate, it's quite expensive. If you're getting charged every single invoice 3% off of it, when your net income from your business is running at 12% before you pay that 3%, now you're down to only a 9%. Sometimes it's hard to run business when cash flow is affected. So we always tell you, hey, go back to that business plan when you establish it and you're deciding how much cash you need to have on hand. Give yourself that time in the window to make sure that if you're invoicing, that your collections and everything will be able to keep up with your cash flows that are out there. So having that 60, 90 day cash in the bank or cash readily available, whether through a line of credit or maybe through your own personal savings out there, could really be key for your business. Now, we talk about trucking and we talk about the keys to success. Keys to success is knowing your costs. Now, we don't just talk about knowing the cost of, hey, your truck payment or your insurance payment, but all your deductions, your fixed costs and variable costs, what you've got to cover out there through the goods that you're transporting on a weekly basis and how you're going to make ends meet. But one of the best things is learning how to figure your cost per mile. Now, not just cost per mile on total costs, but cost per mile on fixed costs. So what is it costing you to drive that truck per mile on a fixed basis? Your fixed costs, your insurance, especially if you're paying for insurance yourself, not through your lease. Your cost of your truck, the cost of your trailer, the payments on that, things that don't vary, your administrative costs that you're going to be set with, that you're going to have to pay every month. Then look at all your variable costs, from fuel costs, repairs and maintenance. All these things build into the bottom line of your business, and it is good knowledge to know what is the cost per mile to drive your truck. Now, hey, you learn, this is my cost per mile, but this is only going to pay dollar for dollar what my cost per mile is. So if it's costing you 41 cents a mile and you're going to only collect 41 cents, well, that didn't leave you any money. You didn't make anything. You just drove the truck for somebody else's good. So you need to know, hey, this is the load and this is what I'm going to make per mile on this load. And how does this make sense in determining my profitability? Or maybe you're going to take a load that, hey, your cost per mile is 35 cents, but that load is only going to pay you 30 cents. Well, why do you want to take a load to lose money? Well, you don't. Loads need to make sense. And the only way you can make sense of how good a load is to know your bottom line cost per mile. Cash in, cash out. What is it costing me? Better yet, I extend this thing out one further. I don't want to just know what my cost per mile is for my income or for my expenses out there. I want to know what my cost per mile is, including the profit for me as the owner operator, so that I know that I am going to make a certain amount of money. Now, if I'm more efficient in driving this, or I'm able to save some other costs, it's going to put more money in my pocket. And I'm better. So if I determine that my cost per mile needs to be 50 cents, and I'm going to have a load out there that's 60 cents, I'm now 10 cents per mile to the good. So if that 50 cents includes paying myself, now I can take a load at 50 cents a mile and know that I can pay myself. If I got a load for 51, 52, now I'm even better. Now, if I'm able to reduce some of my variable costs, maybe I save money on fuel because fuel prices are down or something, or I'm more efficient in driving my truck and got my fuel mileage up, or I was able to save some costs somewhere else in my budget and in my plan. Now I've made more money because I saved money. It's more money in my pocket versus money in somebody else's pocket. So cost per mile can be very key. OIDA, actually, if you go to Trucker Tax Tools and put it into the message there, go to truckertaxtools.com and you put into the message, I want the cost per mile worksheet, we'll get the cost per mile worksheet out to you absolutely free. So go to truckertaxtools.com, go to the contact page, put please send cost per mile worksheet, or just put cost per mile worksheet. We will get that out to you so that you have a tool, whether you're using us or somebody else, you will have the tool to help you calculate the cost per mile on your truck. So don't delay, go over to Trucker Tax Tools, ask for the cost per mile worksheet, put that in on the contact page, and we'll get that out to you as soon as possible. Hey, this is a great show. I love talking trucking. I love talking with y'all. We actually had a lot of questions we're having to answer off air because they're actually particular questions that are coming in for their operations. So if you have some questions, just go to truckertaxtools.com, go to the contact page and shoot us a message over there. What I tell you is like and share. Go over to Tax Talk For You, like our page on Facebook or like our page at taxtalk4you.com. Never miss an episode. We're always talking something about trucking. We're going to talk a little bit about farm and ranch taxes as well out there in the future. So if you know somebody running farm and ranch, refer them over there. We're here every Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time on W4CY Radio or Tax Talk For You TV. But go to taxtalk4you.com if you like the page over there. We'll keep you up to date of everything that we're doing and the next show. But don't miss us. Be here every Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Hey, if you do happen to miss us, catch one of our podcasts again at taxtalk4you.com. let us talk about your taxes, or maybe we'll talk about your tax problem, and let us help you keep your truck on the road, staying more efficient, finding ways to save money on taxes. And if you're a trucker, next month's Landline magazine is going to be talking about 15 different tax deductions you have as an owner operator. Make sure you see the magazine. Make sure you see our article, Talking Taxes and Trucking. Taxes and Trucking at taxtalk4u.com. Hey, we'll see you next week right here, 10 a.m. Eastern Time on W4CY Radio. Thank you very much for everything you do. Have a God-blessed and glorious week. And we'll see you next week right here on taxtalk4u.com.
Are you an individual or business that wants to understand taxes and how they affect you? Are you looking for specific tax advice for self-employed, business owners, and truckers? Are you behind on taxes and your bookkeeping? Are you dealing with the IRS and ready to have some relief? Then you need Tax Talk for You, hosted by tax and trucker expert Barry G. Fowler, EA. Tune in 10 a.m. Eastern Time every Monday right here on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Don't forget to check this and past episodes at taxtalk4u.com. See you next week at W4CY.com.